All right, so back in the data clean, loaded it, cleaned it, pulled it, $4, 468. So I loaded the listing pages and the photo pages for both sets of data, and then hit the max clean detail. So what we get then is it populates this info. So then we know what the quality and condition of each of the properties are. And then after it's been verified by us, then we can run a ranking engine. And here's my comps. I didn't really select them. So I'll take the computer selections. Seems good. And then if I go, that'll bring up a location chart for the different MLS areas and by distance. But if I hit this card, it'll create the adjustment card or the seller concession cards to send the emails to verify the seller concessions, which I've covered in other modules. So when we do the data pull, then we're verifying and adding things to our data set to get better adjustments. So I have 3 screens, and this is how I verify that information. So this is the verifier screen. So in one screen, I'll have this up, and I can check and uncheck, and then I save, and it'll go to a library. I can accept a previously saved version, but it does the quality and condition for all the UAD things that it wants to see. Garages, RV parking, outbuildings, we can add them, subtract them, but that's what that data pull does, is that it goes through all the photos, and when you pull your data set, your competing properties into this module, then it parses out the listings and the CSV and autofills all of this information. And then that data fill goes back and verifies and tries to clean up and add to, and it'll look at the views and it'll try to get it to like we would. So the more depth of that pull, the more accurate this should be, and the less time you have to spend looking at it. So looking at it is something that happens here. So if I hit this pop out screen, and this same viewer is in a couple different modules, the income module and the grid, because we want to take another look at it. So I put this on the third screen. It has my listing. I can thumb through it. I can pause this. I can play it. I can go back and forth one at a time. I can increase or decrease the speed. And then this section over here takes the private and public listings and strips out all the touchy-feely things that I don't care about, like how the coffee, the sitting in the dining nook's going to make me feel looking out over my backyard oasis. I don't care. Does it have a deck? So that's what's going to go in here. So all of that, I'm looking at this on this screen while I'm on this screen checking boxes and making sure everything's right. And then if I want to see if that is a busy road or if it's got solar, I can Google Street View and take a look at the property. also here's Google Maps and the assessor county page. So I have quick links to those things. And then while I'm on here, I can click next. I can add it to a comp list or kick it out of the group altogether. So I'm going to save it and click next. Save it and click next. And as I do that, you can see that I'm moving down this list and it's changing. And also that viewer's changing. So they all work together, and then we verify what that poll did and the autofill to get a clean data set. So when we're done, then what do we adjust for? We adjust for significant market features that have a market reaction. So that's our list. The differences between our subject and the comparable will give us a hit list of adjustments that we're going to need to make. So when we're making adjustments, if we know what that list is, that's a leg up on trying to get every single adjustment to have good quality support. Like if everybody's got a fireplace and I don't need to make a fireplace adjustment, I don't care about the support for a fireplace. I'll just put the slider where I think it should be and move on. So this is that list of adjustments that we're going to need, and it will label them when we get there. The other thing is this data that we just cleaned, how good is it? So this data readiness, if there's an issue with one of the items or listings in here, this will tell you, hey, maybe you should go back and check that busy road. You can rerun it and clean it, fix it. But then for our sales resales that we loaded and key pulled, that is for quality and condition and time. So if we pull up this screen, here's the first sale, here's the second sale, and then that's what the AI poll figured the quality UAD replacement quality rating is and the condition. So on this particular property, it looks like it was bought and 4 months later sold, and it made $100 and some thousand. Obviously, it was a flip, right? So we can auto pull that again, and then that pull looks at this sale compared to that sale and what happened, what changed, and all of these things changed in that. And then down here we set, right now I'm gonna unlock it, it's locked and shipped. So I've done this one. So I'm gonna unlock it, now I can change it. When I change it, these numbers change. So you can see what the difference is. We're going to strip out the time adjustment based on that 5-year time slot. And then we're going to see what the difference is. And then we're going to apply however much with the slider to quality and condition, depending on what we see, what determination we make. If nothing changed, no one touched anything except time, then we hit that and we ship it to the time module. Otherwise, it's going to go to quality and condition. And if we want to, and we do want to, look at this. So here are the first sale and the second sale. So this one only has one picture as a fixer. They probably deleted all the other photos or never put them in and just put the main one in. But you can see what it fixed up to. So I tag whatever photos are evidence in this difference as a exhibit for our adjustment support for the quality and condition. Maybe they, look at that grass. How'd they get it so green, huh? So if you watch that scroll through, that one was tagged. So that's, if we move on to lock and ship, now we go to another one that was also a fixer. And this is what you see and what videos I tagged. Good evidence that the quality and condition changed. And that change is adjustment support. And that change, if bleeds into the time adjustment, is a false time adjustment. So unless you're excluding these from that, the guy put $100,000 into this house to get it to look like that. That's not time. That's and a cost. So locked and shipped, and we can go. This one was. Is that the same house? So they bought a fixer and didn't like it and sold it again. Nothing changed. So what would that be? That'd be time. 17 grand. Time. That's marked. Here's the time adjustment. Locked and shipped to time. This one has a little quality and condition. That one's about the same. That one's a little better. Here's another almost time one. Pretty similar. So we lock and ship that. So in the end, all of that support is just building adjustment support for quality, condition, and time. So now we've done all we need to do here. We're going to move on and we're going to get to the market stats. It is a preliminary stat sheet on that clean set, and gives you the active, pending, sold, high, lows, medians, the change. Don't copy that. It's just preliminary. We do a market analysis later, but in this, it gives you some graphs off that data set, and some regression analysis for a bunch of different features. You can take any of those, download as a PNG, copy the rate. So you can download any of these or them as a group. Here's your clean data set you just cleaned. So you got the file before it went in. Now you can get it after it's clean coming out for your work file. You can export all those charts, and we're going to go to site. So I did a site thing already. It'll automatically open to extraction. You can then put in we put the tax mains in the seller concession field. That should pull it into here and fill the assessor mark. And then you'll have listings for land sales. So just tag them and keep them as listing photos. So save the listing photos, and then when you go in here, you'll dump that into this file, and then it'll auto populate and you can watch the land video. Cost approach, we got a couple options here. So dwelling cost, Marshall and Swift, our own personal cost library. So I set up a system where you can outreach to local builders and tradespeople. They can respond back with their costs for things, and then we can assemble with enough data our own local cost library instead of using these national figures. This one, you probably got a book and you look it up, and then you can plug the number in here. The dwelling cost is an API call, of which I have been working tirelessly trying to get that to work with them, and they're not being real helpful at this point, but we'll see. See, comes back. The call got returned. So in here it'll auto-populate these things and fill them. So when the cost straightens out, we'll get that, and then we're gonna take that info into the depreciated cost checker. So I can refresh pipeline and it'll fill. But if we wait long enough, it just does it. So in here, I can pull from a Craftsman's library, and it will automatically fill the depreciated cost since we're not getting info from the dwelling, and it'll give you a depreciated cost for things. Let's just say that the land value was 210. And then we can run that. It will come up with a square footage adjustment amount. So that'll give off based off of the comparables. And then if we go in here and we calculate this, it'll give you a quality and condition depreciated cost amount. So those things will all pipe into the analysis for adjustment reconciliation. But in this module, all we care about is the market reaction. And depreciated cost is not a market reaction. But in here, we're going to measure market reactions for the adjustments. Here's our hit list, and these are our support ratios. So when I'm looking at this, I can lock and level. I've been in here. This is a file that I've worked before, and now it's got a new data set. So it's I'm gonna redo some things though. But then you can lock and you can level the data set based on that information. So here's our condition and quality ratings, and you can see the support. If we click that, we're going to bust it out down here, and we're going to look at the details of that support. So here are our pairs that we sent to the quality and condition, the sale resales. And then in here, these levels are all set to optimum. You can move them up and down. That's why I put sliders in, so you have complete control over what the adjustment is. Apply that, and you can lock that. And for a full rating, it's 40,500. And a partial step, a plus or a minus, is 13,500. So here's the high and low markers. You can move those if you want. Here's where we're at. Here's the support, and that could change as we manipulate the data. Collapse that. I'm going to go up to quality and condition, and I'm going to lock it. And then I'm going to take a look at the condition, and similar. And then you can blend the support that you have for these right here, combined adjustment. These are our sale resales. This is our calculations. So I want more weight put on the sale resales than the calculations. And then these are those calculations. So I'm going to see, I lose support there and then gain the upper one, which has more support at the top. So I'm going to like that. Going to apply it, I'm going to lock it, and then it splits off what the partial is. Then you can really nerd out on this. Put some charts in, some matrix, some different information. So you can move the slider where you want all your adjustments to be at this stage, unfinished square foot. Then if you want to add something, any of these features, all you got to do is click on it and then it'll add it. So I'm going to put RV parking in here. But then I'm going to put these features where I think they should be. And look, all that patio support. So if they're green and well supported, I'll lock them. Otherwise, I just keep the detached garage. Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah, I'll just put the slider like that, not lock it. And we'll gain support because there's a lot of noise going on in the data set with like a bathroom, for instance. 3 baths usually have a couple other attributes. They're usually on larger homes. So the larger home has some influence over that adjustment and bleeds into that adjustment amount. So you might end up with a huge adjustment for a bath because it's the third and in a larger home. But if we take those, we're going to then move all that to the adjustment reconciliation here. We're going to take a short trip here, and then we're going to just lock all. Then I'm going to time. So we're going to get a better time analysis, and then we're going to move that time analysis back to the adjustments, and we're going to strip the time feature out of the adjustments, just like we leveled for, say, GLA. So it always wants a number on like the age that I usually put nothing. So I put $1. I think we set that. But I'll put those manual. If I go to standalone, it brings in that secondary 2-year backdrop and that 5-year. And I usually do that. Here are sale resale pairs that represent good representation of time. And then here's all of the features I'm going to apply and level. So it strips out all of these features and brings all of the data set to a median to isolate the time. So down here, this is our time graph then. And that's a combination of all these different features. And I can put more weight on that one. I can add some. So if I want to add the linear regression a little bit, or if I want to pull back on this one or that one, or add a third-party product into it, it'll put their line right in there and you can measure the difference. So this is the amount of the features to widen, or the threshold, and it might get it more fine-tuned to what you're actually seeing in the market. And if it says inconclusive, that's something that you just override and say, it looks pretty conclusive to me. So if that's what I think the Time's doing, 17 features, and these adjustments add to it, I'm going to mark it stable. But in here, this isn't our final time analysis anyway. This is what I'm going to take back to the adjustments and lock it. I'm going to lock that, and then I'm going to go back to the adjustment support here, and I'm going to let it load, and then I'm going to both remove the time and the features that we've already locked. So then we can see where our support is: good, fair, excellent. And then I have all these features locked. I do that. Then I look back at here and see where my support is. So that busy road adjustment's looking better now, more supported. I can lock that. These two still looking good there, and that. The bedrooms, ductless, so that's well supported there. So we're gaining support on some of these. And if they say needed, that's one of the ones that you need support for. If they don't, who cares about support for them? Obviously, if everything's supported, we got that one. Evidently, all our conditions are the same, but we might change them. So we know we're probably going to need that when we get to the grid anyway. Busy roads aren't used, but if we did, it would be well supported. Like the GLA, if we break that out, here's all the support for the GLA. And then I can look at where it's most supported. I can move that up and down the slider, put it where I want, and I'll make my appraisal decision on what that support is, and then use that to level the data set. So this is that thin competing set. And then if we want to introject the 2-year into that, or the all sales data set, then we can do that. That kind of floods the zone. We can open the band up, and then we can remove the locked features and the noise. And then we got better support, got a lot more adjustment support. We can fine tune these now, lock them in, get all the ones that we want, that we need, and then we will, that one don't matter, but what ones do we need? This one. I'm gonna put that on the edge of the support. It's a lot for that. Good thing we're not making that adjustment. We wouldn't. Don't need a shop anyway. ADU, it's probably about right. Same there. So and then it'll have a suggested number in here. So then we can lock and level both time and features. See what we got. Move them around. Then we're going to go to that recon one more time. We're going to actually set them. Then we're going to go back to that time. It'll look a lot the same, and we will set that. So in here, now we have our adjustments we just made. Then there's the depreciated cost, prior adjustments, peer adjustments, and if we want to put Synapse, the Word doc that has the support, if you just paste it here, it will populate this row. So then you can move this slider to what you want that adjustment to be and plug it in. So if I lock all, it'll go to my featured isolation, my adjustments on my market support. But if I don't have market support, maybe that depreciated cost and a peer support, lean on some other things, and it should say in here which ones that we need so we know. Then we're going to go back to time after we locked all those. Let's go back. So after we're done, they're all locked. This is for creating, we can export it to Word or any of this, but we want to develop it. It's going to open this builder. So these are tier 2 are items that aren't going to, they're not tier 1 items. Tier 1 items are adjustments that we created that we're going to actually use in the grid. These were not. So maybe I want less detail on those. I guess it's locked there. So when we go through here, I'm super max on the detail, but I can adjust that down and decrease that amount of detail to whatever I want to put in my report. So if I go to super max, then I also, for this quality adjustment, this is the adjustment, all of the support for it. And then down here are those pairs that we parsed out. You can include or exclude them, and then you can develop them. So if I click that development, it will bring up those photos and all of the details of that adjustment, the time, the amount, the time strip for the market time, and what that adjustment is for a quality and what that adjustment is for a condition, and the percent that would be based on the median sale price. So then here's all that AI intelligence support that it talks about what the difference is between this and that, sale 1 and sale 2. So this is what that second poll did. So that happens on, whatever ones you want to include in the report if they have, if you tagged photos. So you can do that and include them. And if we move down through here, condition falls into that one. Here is the rest of that support for condition. and then GLA, and it'll tell you from this to that. There's all this support for it. Here's the data. Bedrooms, same thing. So this is the report that we're building for putting in our actual report for all of the features that we just created adjustments for. I can print that to Word. And I can open it. I can enable that and then paste that into my straight into my report if I want to. And it also gets wrapped up and pulled into our report. Might do a little more formatting here, taking up a lot of space, but you can see the photos and that evidence. It presents pretty well. Can you imagine a reviewer? So the adjustment tools that we had, that we rely on, use, for instance, for that adjustment, quality and condition, almost exclusively because we haven't upscaled the data. It's only depreciated cost, which isn't even a market reaction. So this is the adjustments and the support. And if we go back here, we'll go to the time. And this is gonna, the time mod gonna go with the market analysis. And then when you're done with the grid, whatever comps are left in your grid, whichever ones you chose and weighted and wrote the recon on and determined your sales comparison price for, those will get piped into that market analysis with this time module information. And it will then put a great market analysis with time into your work file and for your report. So you got the basement now. Now it doesn't have, likes that buck on the age, which makes no difference, but apply and level. Don't forget to do that. Here's our adjustments. That's what it leveled. Here's our market time. Looks like we got some waffling going on. So it did change. Maybe I want to put that on there. And this is leveling of the time. And you looked at the sales resales, so you kind of know what that looked like. What I usually say is if it hasn't changed 3% or less in 12 months, that it's probably a pretty stable market. And if all the data I'm looking at kind of agrees with that, I don't agree with getting the time module and having to go back in and say, that's not right. That's not what I saw. That is not what the market's doing. I don't agree with it, but it's the only support I got. And it's plus 5% this month and minus 4% that month. And If these buckets are thin, that's why we blend and why we stack data sets of competing properties, is that it then uh, thins out. Like if 4 sales all with homes 1,000 square foot bigger than these 2 months of homes, yeah, it's going to go up 5% and down 4%. That's, and we leveled, but is it also considering other aspects in there? So when you're looking at like a flip, so if you see a big increase 1 month and you think, man, was that actually a time adjustment? When month over month or year over year, our actual market time is 1, 2%. Maybe in some areas it's even negative over all of the competing properties. So I kind of like that one for this area on this data set from what I saw looking at the data when I was doing it. So I am going to mark that as stable. I'm going to lock it and I'm going to move to the income. So now we got our time, we got our adjustments. This is the income section. I kind of did a small thing on it, but you can watch that video. And then we pull it all into the grid. So this is not an actual file, it's a fake file, is what I call them. But you can see it populated, all the photos, all the summary of the quality and condition of the set. And if I pull from the pipeline, it'll populate everything. And I like to look at 6. I can pull from the type pipeline, check my media. So the listing pages for these, I would print the listing pages and the photo report for the comparables. And then I would load them into these buckets and then it would populate that. And then here's our adjustments, and I'm going to do 50 feet. But you can see, and our time. So here's our grid filled out, kind of. And I don't know if it's got a deck. I mean, I don't even care. Let's just go none. So oh, that's GLA. So I don't know if it does. But you can see that these are sales. I haven't even looked at, I mean, I didn't look at them at all. So I don't know if they're good sales, but here's active and a pending. Then it go up here and this will take us to whatever this one is. Looks like a good sale. We're going to move it into that first 6. And the active and pendings don't get weighted. So, and that's a new sale. We're going to move this guy up. So, then we have over here, we're going to apply adjustments. We're going to apply time, and we're going to apply our seller concessions that we logged in from all them emails. And that's going to bring an adjusted amount here. But we haven't fine-tuned this, or really our subject. If they're red like this, means it's not bracketed. They all have basements but us. That's the problem. So if we then click on this, it's a pop out for this comp, and that is the viewer. So if I pull that up, here is an easier view to edit this information, all while keeping track of what our net and our gross adjustment amounts are and our adjusted price with the adjustments. If I click on one, it's going to give me the math for that adjustment so I can check it. And then I'm going to hit the viewer. It's going to bring up this guy again, and that guy is going to bring up our photo. So we can run 3 screens, go through here, and once we've verified and filled out and like it, we're going to save and go to the next and the next and the next till we're done. When we're done, we're going to put a weight on it. Till we get to 100. There's our sales comparison, 7.5% below median. It comes in here with these against these comps. I can run this engine. This applies all the adjustments to every competing property, just like they're in the grid. Gives you all this data. It brings up that data here. And then this is our reconciliation kind of. And if I hit that, it's going to run a reconciliation on our key. And we can do basic math, math only, basic or enhanced. So then I hit generate, and it generates the reconciliation for that grid. I'm going to apply that and go to the market conditions. I'm going to load that from the pipeline. I'm going to drop in my market action report, which is maybe something that's put it in there, but here it's market data of all single family homes in each of these areas, and then it feeds this data as a larger macro analysis. So here's our comp parameters, what we pulled. This is all the data from the highs, lows, actives, pendings. We can set this to whatever we think the market is. So this is our final analysis of what the market's doing. And this is a little MC thing. And this is the last 24 months. Here's a time linear graph. Here is that graph from the time adjustments we applied and those applications of how much that time adjustment was. Here's all of that recap, and then I can save that as a PDF or copy it, put it in your basically your right click, or print it as a PDF. So that is the market analysis, the time, the adjustments, the grid, and your final recon here. So in here, we didn't develop that, and we're going to say why. And and we didn't develop that, and we're going to say why. And then we are going to pull that from the pipeline, and then we have a final number. We're going to finish and build, and that is going to put everything into an export that zips up and goes to your work file. And then this is that form I'm working on. So it filled, but not completely because I'm not done. So this is the 3.6 shadow form that I'm building that's in. When we do a software download, it'll kind of be a floater alongside what you're developing, and then you can modify and change things as you go. So this file, a JSON file, rebuilds everything we've done. So it is also in this zip file, but I feed that to my programmer. So there, that is all of the analysis, how to get through the whole form in two parts, the front half and the back half, and what those documents that you have to build your area out with are for. And that's why this software is available anywhere as long as you get those documents and build your area.